Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Art Spot. I'm Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could be with us. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, we're about to bring in our friends over on Instagram so they can be a part of our show for today. And we're live on Instagram. Then we're going to connect with our friends over on Amazon. We're going to have a continuation for you guys today in the Art Spot. Going to be continuing with our drawing that we started last week. So if you guys were not with us last week, we're glad you all could be with us for this week. And we're now live on Amazon Live for the Art Spot. So glad you all could be with us. I'm going to type in a quick welcome message for those joining us on Amazon. And for those that are tuning in on the other platforms, we do have the chat open. So glad you all could be with us. As I mentioned, here in the Art Spot today, we're going to be continuing what we did last week, what we worked on. As you guys know, we started a picture of Tamron Hall. And so we're going to be continuing on that today in our program. So glad you all could be with us either on Instagram or on the other social media sites. The art supplies I'm using for today's show are actually in our carousel. I'm going to go through those quickly so I can go ahead and dive into the actual picture, which is what I know most of you want to be able to see. So again, the Art Spot is all about being able to bring art to life for you guys. So we do it by doing live art demonstrations here on Amazon, but we do simulcast it on our other platforms as well. So let's talk about what I have in my carousel for today that I will be having to use. The first thing is our Charles Leonard ruler you guys can see here. If you joined us last week, you saw me using this. This is the 36-inch ruler that's here. It is $6.29, and I use this for when it comes to measuring, make sure I'm getting proportions, that kind of thing right. I will have to use it a little bit today as we're doing more detail on our picture. So that's one of the first things. Also, of course, because I'm working with pencil today, I do have my pencil sharpener here. You can get it right now for $8.99. That's $8.99 for the pencil sharpener that I'm using here. And then, of course, I am using Amazon Basics pencils. I love these pencils. They sharpen really nice. So that's what I'm using today, just the number 2 pencils. That's what I'll be using primarily for today's show. Unless I get a little bit further along than I thought, I may use some of my others that I'm going to be showing you guys too. And then we have our Mr. Pen Peak erasers here, because of course, when you're drawing, you're going to be able to have mistakes. So of course, I have my erasers that's here as well. And then next in the carousel, I have my sketching pencil set, and that's what this is. And in this set, there's also something else I may have to be able to use, and that is my blending stick. So you can see this is an 18-piece set here with a blending stick here. Also comes with an eraser. Really nice set here. This is $15.99 for the pencil set here. And then also, of course, I want to bring to your attention this overhead light that I'm using too, that you guys will be seeing here in a bit. It also is on sale right now on Amazon. You all can get it right now for $28.99. That's 15% off. That's 15% off for it. So it's on a really good deal right now. And then, of course, you can see my art studio sign here. For those artists looking for signage, you can get that right now for $12.98 in the carousel. And then we also have my colored pencil set. I may not get to that today, depending again on how the show goes. Now, the last thing I will mention, and that is what we actually are drawing on. Now, if you missed it last week, this is the photo of Tamron Hall that we are drawing. I had it done in black and white. So you can see here, copied in black and white, since that's what we're going to be drawing it in. You can see there. But we actually are drawing it on a canvas here. So we have it on a 16 by 20 inch canvas. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the other camera for you guys so you can be able to see. So this is a 16 by 20 inch canvas that I'm actually drawing on here. So that's gonna be the start of the show for today. I'm gonna move my microphone over a little bit. So you can get these canvases right now. They're on sale. You get 3 of them for $21.59. That's $21.59 for the canvases that I'm using here today. Hey, Melissa, good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. Glad you could be with us. And also, of course, as I mentioned, those tuning in on Amazon, appreciate you guys. And also on IG, and I see you guys over there on LinkedIn as well. So let's go ahead and get into today. So again, we are continuing what we were doing last week, which again, we started with our measurements, if you remember, of the tamarind picture. Then we started going into the drawing. Now, what I tell people all the time is, and especially if you guys do sketches, you know this, go into this knowing that you're not going to get everything right initially. The main thing is to go in to start with the body of what you're doing, and then we're going to be able to go in and make changes as we go in. For myself personally, the most important thing when I'm drawing a person, especially a quote unquote real person, instead of something I'm making up, making sure that we're getting the proportions right. That's really going to be the main thing here. Make sure we're getting the proportions right on everything that we are using. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and make my overhead camera larger for you guys, so you guys can be able to see it more so than see myself. So there you can see it there. So I'm going to go ahead and get into today. So again, we're using my 16 by 20 canvas. That's what we're drawing on here. Today, what we're going to be doing is start filling in the detail. Because as you can see, we have, I'm just going to use my paintbrush here. And this is what I use to basically to get like when I'm doing any erasing or whatever from last week. Okay, go ahead and get that cleared off there. So now what we're going to be doing is now doing our definition, and the definition is going to help us make it more like the person, but also help us to be able to double check when it comes to our proportions of everything. So to do that, this is what we're going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take my picture that I'm using, and if you remember from last week, remember we did the grid on it so I could check the proportions. That's what we're going to be using today to be able to check our proportions, to make sure our proportions are correct. We also are going to be using the color picture as a guide. I'll be using that as a guide when it comes to different things that we actually see, okay? So just keep that in mind. Also, of course, when we're using this, just to make sure I don't smear the drawing, I may sometimes I'll just use a piece of paper, just a regular sheet of computer paper to be able to use, just to make sure I'm not smearing anything as I'm working. Now, one of the things that I like to do, and every artist is different, but when it comes to proportions, the first thing I want to do is to go in and check with my ruler to see how close I am, but also what I may need to change. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our black and white, okay, our black and white photo, and let's go ahead and do some measuring. So the first thing we're going to do is to measure our subject's head. Now, keep in mind that this is an 8 by 10 that I'm actually drawing from, okay? So what we're doing here is we're making it larger. We're making it into a 16 by 20. So everything should be twice the size. So keep that in mind, okay? So the first thing I want to do is to check from the top of her head down to her chin to see how much it is. And that is showing me that it is 4.5 inches. So from the top of her head, let me put it here so you guys can see it better. From the top of her head to her chin is 4.5 inches there, okay? Now, since my drawing is twice as big, what does that mean? That means that from the top of my head to her chin should be 9 inches. You see how we do that? So everything that we find in this picture, it should be twice as big in mine because I'm doing my drawing twice as big. So then the question becomes, is the top of her head to her chin, is it 9 inches? Well, let's go ahead and check and see. And again, this is a great way to be able to check. Okay, so as we can see from her top of her head, so I'm actually a little shy. Now, see, this is one of the things that is really cool about this. I'm a little shy of 9 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down. And again, we're just drawing now, and we'll be cleaning things up later to let me know I have some wiggle room to play with when it comes to the bottom of her face. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing we're going to check. So we checked that, and that told me that I was a little bit off, which is fine. That's the great thing about drawing it in pencil first. And we'll be adding color later. Okay, so the next thing to check is the dimensions of her face going horizontally. So here we're at just about 3 inches. Okay, So that means then across my face should be 6 inches. So you see, everything is going to be double. So let's go ahead and take a look then. We'll go ahead and go here. And as you can see, once again, I'm just a little bit shy. See, there's 6 inches there, just a little bit shy. I'm going to keep that though the way it is, but at least it lets me know exactly what my dimensions are like. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do the same thing with her eyes. Okay. Let's see how big her eyes are here. All right. So her eye is short of 1 inch. Okay. Short of 1 inch, which means then mine should be no more than short of 2 inches. Okay. And that's how we're able to, and that is correct. And it's the same thing here. So see, those little things help us to kind of know exactly what our proportions are like as we're drawing. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to measure from what I have is the top of her hairline to her nose. Okay. So we're going to do the top of her hairline on her face to her nose. So that shows it's a little shy of 2 inches. So that means mine should be a little shy of 4 inches. So let's see if it is. So we're going to put it here. And sure enough, it is a little short of 4 inches. See, that's what and this is, again, it's going to help us when we're doing the rest of the drawing. Now here comes a pivotal one. Next thing we're going to check is from the nose to her lips. So I'm using my ruler again. And see, this is why, again, I love this ruler, because it helps me to be able to easily check this. From her nose to her lips, we're doing from the bottom of her nose to the bottom of her lips. Okay. It's a little short of 1 inch, which means mine should be a little short of 2 inches. Okay. So let's take a look and see what it is. From the bottom of her nose, and it's a little short of 2 inches. So we're on the right track here. Now here's an important one to be able to check, and that is from the bottom of her nose to the top of her lips. I think I'm going to be off on this, but let's take a look to see. So from the bottom of the nose to the top of the lips is going to be a little short of half an inch, which means mine should be a full inch or a little short of that. And let's see what it is. Okay. Yes. So mine is going to be off. So what we're going to be able to do then, we're going to be able to do some maneuvering then when it comes to the bottom of her face. Now, what I like to do, and again, every artist is different when it comes to this. What I'm going to do, hey, Lynette, good to be able to see you. Lynette, if you're joining us, welcome. You're watching the Art Spot on Amazon Live, but we're simulcasting this across social media. Today, we're doing a drawing of Tamron Hall. This is the photo of Tamron that we're doing. And I was just going through my measurements to be able to make sure our measurements are correct. And so I'm going to turn this around. So a lot of times I like to draw upside down. A lot of times it's easier for me. So that way I'm not looking at it so much as a person. I'm just looking at shapes and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm going to start doing here, is drawing upside down. And it may actually be easier for you guys to see that way initially as well. So what I'm going to do now is take my photo here that I'm drawing from, and we're going to get started. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to check again my proportions. And again, as I mentioned, we do have some differences here that I will be able to play with. And that's what I'm going to be looking at as I'm doing my drawing here. So, okay, so I'm looking, first of all, from her nose to her lips. That's the first thing I'm looking at. And it looks like what I did was I made her nose too close to her lips. She seems to have a little bit more space, as you can see there, from the bottom of her nose to the top of her lips than what I gave her. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix that issue. So I'm going to take one of my Amazon Basic pencils, one that has a good eraser on it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start erasing where her lips are. Okay, so we're going to be erasing her lips. And again, this is the great thing about creativity. Now, again, if I was drawing someone I'd made up, I wouldn't be as concerned about this. But because we are drawing a real person, it's going to be more important for us to get more of the dimensions and everything correct. Okay. So before I put the lips in, I'm going to go ahead and do another step. I'm going to go ahead and check and see exactly where her chin is going to be, because remember I had to bring her chin down, and then I can check the contours of the face. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase everything from the bottom of her ears. I'm going to erase this part of her face. So that's going to give me a clean slate to do any maneuvering that I need to do. I'm going to keep the bottom there that I've already marked off. But everything else, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and erase that. And the reason why we're doing this is because this way we can make sure, for one, that we have a good marker of where things should be, but also that we're not confused by all of the other lines that I have here as well. Okay. Okay. So there's that. So you can see I removed the bottom part of her face. Again, one of the cool things about being an artist, you can do this, right? You can be able to make these kind of changes early in the process. Nikki's dad, hello to you over there on IG. Glad you could join us. Nikki's dad, this is the Art Spot, another one of my shows I do here on Amazon Live. I'm on here live Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. That's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Today we're doing a picture of Tamron Hall. That's what we're drawing today. I actually started this last week, Nikki's dad. I don't know if you saw it last week, but I started this last week. So again, so as you can see, we erased the bottom of her face. And again, that's going to also give me some wiggle room when it comes to changing the shape of her face. The only thing I kept in place, as you see there, was where her chin should be. Okay. So then what we're going to do is now we're going to go back up and we're going to reshape her face. That's what we're doing now. We're going to reshape her face. And if I do it correctly, as it is here, see how it's connecting with what I left around her eyes. So you see, so now we're reshaping the face. And again, if we do it correctly, see, once again, it connected to the right side of the face correctly. So there we have it. So this is a really cool way to get, I do it upside down just because it's easier for me. If you're drawing this or doing your own photo, you don't have to do it, of course, upside down. You just do whatever works for you. This is always easier for me just so I can focus on the shapes and stop thinking so much about it being a face. But when I do it this way, it definitely helps me to think of it more just in shapes. And that helps me in getting the right shape for what I'm trying to draw. So I'm going to erase this now. Okay. And then you guys get to see this all come together. Okay. All right. Now I want to spend some time in making sure I get the lips right, because the lips are going to be a very big part of making sure that the rest of the face looks correct. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back now that I've seen exactly how much space I have. I'm going to go back down and start putting her lips in. Now, keep in mind with lips, the indentation of the top of the lip should be in the middle of the nose. So that's kind of my indicator here that it should be in this area. The other thing that I do sometimes, and some artists do this as well, is that they will draw a line from the chin going straight up into the face. We're going to be erasing this anyway. And that also lets them help with dimensions too. So I'm going to do that only because I want to make sure that I'm getting the lips correctly before I go any further. So again, what we're going to do is start drawing her lips in. Again, starting with her top lip here. And it looks like, from what I see on my end, let's see, on the right one, it's about halfway through her eye. Let me see on the left one. Same thing. So what I was just checking to see, the corners of her lips should be halfway through where her eyes are. Okay, so that's what I want to check and see. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw. Again, this is an indicator for me. This will be erased, but again, it lets me see. And got it there. I'm going to do the same thing here. And again, that's going to help me in making sure that I have the lips being the right width and length. Okay. So now we're going to go in and put the lips in. And you'll notice too, because we're doing this in black and white, that there will be some changes that are made because of the coloring. And you'll be able to see that as we're going throughout this. But right now what we're doing is we're putting the lips in. And let's see. And we're going to do the same thing over on this end. I'm just looking at my drawing here as a reference just to kind of get an idea of the shape. Because keep in mind, we talked about this last week, that her face is partially turned. So it's not going to be exactly right up, looking straight at you. There is going to be a turn there. So now what we're doing is putting that in, putting those lips in, the bottom lip. And so you guys can see that as it's coming in. And there may be other adjustments we end up making to this, but I'm just right now doing this just so I can get an idea of where everything fits in. Yeah. And then she has some dimples there. We're going to make sure that we get that in as well. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching The Art Spot on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting it on social media for Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. What we're doing is we're doing a black and white, but we're going to add some color to it, drawing of Tamron Hall. So that is our source material there that we're using. Going to be making some changes to it to kind of make it our own. But as you can see, this is what we are drawing so far as we're drawing her there. And again, we're doing it as on the 16 by 20 canvas. That's what I'm using here to draw her on. 16 by 20 canvas. I like drawing on canvases because I like the texture that it adds to the skin of the person that you're drawing. So I do like the canvas versus just on paper. Now I do draw on paper, but again, if I want something that kind of stands out, this is what I'm going to use. Okay. So again, what we're doing right now is we're as you saw, we did a reshaping of her face to kind of go along with the dimensions that are there. I'm going to erase some of this here so you can start seeing it better there. Then I'm going to start erasing this here so you can start seeing this better as well. And the next step we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some contouring to the sides of her face, because what that's going to do is help you in not only being able to look at it and say, hey, that looks like Tamron Hall, but also to be able to once again make sure that the features are something that looks like the person, because that's really what you're doing. You want to make sure that your features look like the individual that you're drawing or painting, but in this case, of course, drawing. Okay. And again, I'm just using my brush. This is my 2.5-inch brush. I use it just to be able to get the eraser marks there off and to clear that off. So again, you can see how it's coming together. So you can see now the shape starting to come in. And a lot of this, of course, will become even clearer when you're able to start seeing a lot of the detail that comes in too. What I'm going to do now is actually do some erasing in her eyes, because one thing I'm noticing too is that her eye on my end, my left, her right, is a little wide, and I'll be able to fix that. Okay. And then here's another line that I drew just to be able to make sure that her eyes were the correct width apart, and they are. Okay. Okay, and there's that. Okay, so again, this is the cool thing about using pencil and having good erasers, because you're able to clear up your mistakes in an easy way while still being able to draw. Yes. Okay, so Earl, yes. Earl, thank you so much for watching. Yes, I have it turned upside down. I'm drawing it upside down right now. That's why it looks that's why it's upside down. A lot of times when I'm drawing things on the face, I will turn the drawing upside down. But that's great that you noticed that. But yeah, I will turn it upside down so that I can better get a look at what it looks like as far as the shapes go, versus thinking about it as a whole face at the time. So yeah, it's on purpose right now that it is upside down. I will be turning it around here though in a bit. But right now, what I want to do is to have it upside down so I could get a better idea of dimensions and that kind of thing. So what I'm looking at now is I'm drawing everything in. I'm now going to start doing some light shading, and let me tell you why I say light shading. I'm going to do some light shading so we can start adding some color to the face, but that's also going to help me to see where I still need to make adjustments into the proportions. You will notice some glaring things that are missing as you're looking at this. For one thing, she has no eyelashes right now, and that's done purposely. And the reason she doesn't have any eyelashes right now is because that's a pretty detailed thing. As you'll notice, she has what they call a smoky look on her eyes. And so since she has that smoky look, I want to make sure that I get all of that detail in. But that means then I'm going to be able to, when I do the smoky look, make it darker. Currently, what I want to do right now is I'm going to make it lighter. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lightly start shading it in. And I'm lightly shading it in just so I can get an idea of what it's going to look like with color. Okay. Keeping in mind that there are some things you guys will not be able to notice right off, only because I won't be able to feel the whole thing in yet, as I'm still checking dimensions and proportions. But you will start getting an idea now as I'm doing actually coloring it in, exactly what it's going to look like when she has some color to her. Okay. So again, and you'll notice that noise, that's because I'm doing this on a canvas, and a canvas has texture. So and that's another reason why I'm drawing it on canvas, because the canvas is going to give it that extra texture that's going to make the skin really pop. Okay. So again, what I'm doing now, if you guys are just coming in, what I'm doing now is I'm starting to do just a little bit of shading. But what that's going to do is that's going to help me when it comes to my dimensions on seeing where some things may be off and where there still need to be some changes made. Okay. So as you can see here, you can tell what this is here as I am doing it. This is her cheekbone. And the reason why you'll notice that I'm leaving it a little lighter, if you look in the drawing, and this is why I make the black and white drawing, you look at the drawing, see the highlights that are there. We want to make sure that there's room enough for those highlights. Okay. So currently I'm feeling good about the majority, and I say the majority of the proportions currently, because what I'm doing now is what they call the flow. And as far as the flow goes, it's flowing as it should, from the nose up to the side. I am saying I could be able to add a little bit of length here. I will work on that a little bit later as I get the rest of it filled in. But again, the same thing here. Going to go ahead and start just lightly filling this in. Now, again, the reason why we're doing this is not going to be the finished thing. But what this is going to do is allow me to be able to see where some more changes may need to be made. Okay. So there's the nose there coming in. And you'll notice even in the nose, you're going to find the same contours and shading there too. And you see the white line going across her nose. See, that also I have to keep in mind for that too. That's going to help too with the contour. So you'll see me being able to recognize that as well. Okay. So again, we're going to go ahead and go in here. But again, the flow in this area seems good. Like everything is feeling good at this point with the flow, which means where things are supposed to be, they're just about there. There are some tweaks I'm noticing as I'm doing this, but those will be addressed. Right now, again, I just want to make sure that I get the dimensions right so that the rest of the drawing will make sense. Okay, and that's what I'm doing now. And a lot of this too, you'll notice when I do the hair, SS Shucking, hello to you, good to be able to see you. When I do the hair, you notice we have to go back and do some more shading, because once we add the blackness in for the hair, that's going to cause us to have to then be able to make some other changes when it comes to the rest. So again, what we're doing right now is we're just doing some light shading. Again, we're not trying to put everything in right now. But what we are trying to do is get an idea of just our proportions. Again, making sure our proportions are correct before we get too far in and then have to make other changes. Okay. So I'm looking at this. All of this looks good. I am seeing here there needs to be more roundness in this area. So I will need to round this out. So I will do that. And again, we're going to do some erasing here so I can see what that looks like. And that looks a lot better. So again, a lot of these little things are going to help you to say, oh yeah, I see it now. I can see her coming in. Because once we start putting in the layers of her color and being able to give her a complexion, that's going to really help you to be able to see it. And I'll be turning it around here in a bit to make sure you guys can see it well. Again, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching the Art Spot here on Amazon Live. I'm Cyrus Webb. I'm your host. Today we're working on, this is actually day 2 of our drawing that we started last week with Tamron Hall. If you missed last week, you can always be able to check the replay here on Amazon, but also on my social media networks as well. So we're going to go ahead and keep going in here, again, doing shading. Again, keep in mind the important thing here, and that is this is not the finished product. Just because we're putting this color on here right now does not mean that's what she's going to look like. But what that does do, it allows me to have some more context as to what she's going to look like and what changes I may need to make. Okay. All right, so as we're going there, so now what we're going to do, I am going to turn it around now. Okay, I'm going to turn it around. So now you should be able to see it the right side up. Okay. Now, when I turned it around, and see, there's going to be some things you all are going to notice. One will be the eyes. The eyes, what I know from the eyes right now is that the shapes are good. The changes have to be made in the pupils, which we're going to get into that. That's an easy thing. But also, of course, just then adding the eyelashes that I mentioned earlier. That's coming up too. So this is also always, I tell people, working on a project like this is really relaxing, actually, for me. It's a lot of fun. This is something I would be doing and have done just, in having some free time if I'm not doing a commission piece. Go ahead and do some changes here. You see her ear is here. There's that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to her face and make some other changes here to kind of clear this out. Again, that's why I'm so glad that some of you can be here live, so you're able to see the transformation from where it started to what it looks like now. See, now I'm going under the eyes. You see that? And adding more shading there. And see, all of these things are going to help me. Okay, going to turn it this way. And now what we're going to do is we're going to check on the eyes. Now, keep in mind with the eyes, I had mentioned that they may be off. Let's go ahead and see what we need to do with the eyes. So I'm going to look at the drawing that we have. And as you can see, let's see. Eyes are at a little bit of a slant. So we want to make sure that we have the same thing here. Okay. Okay. So I'm also going to check while I'm here, checking a couple of other things about the eyes. Because I think one of the big things that I'm seeing, let me go ahead and go back over here. Okay, yeah, so I'm looking now at the eyes. Gonna have to close some more of this up here on this end. Okay. And then on this end, need a little bit more definition here, so I can work on that. I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen this pencil because I've been giving it a little bit of a workout. Again, keep in mind that the pencil sharpener, the canvases that I'm using here, the 16 by 20 canvases, as well as the other supplies you see, including the overhead light, they are in the carousel for those of you joining us on the Amazon side. If you guys are not joining us on Amazon, you can head over to Amazon to be able to find out more information about the products that I'm using here today. Okay. Okay. All right. So next, what are we going to do? We're still going to be shaping up. So I'm going to go in and we're going to work on the eyes a little bit. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is where a lot of the identity comes from, for people to say, oh, that looks like such and such. So what I'm going to do first is to check and see what my eyes look like. This eye looks really good. This one's a little concerning for me. So I'm going to play with it a little bit to make some changes. And so as I do that, I'm also going to start giving her some eyelashes because that's going to help me too with my shading, considering, of course, that, the pictures are black and white. Okay, so we're going to go here. Okay. That looks good. And so again, what we're doing is we just want to make sure that we are looking at our source material and making sure that everything fits in the way it's supposed to. Okay. Okay. Gonna go here. And we're doing the same thing on this side. We're going to make sure that we do the shadowing that she's become known for. Let's see. So you can see there. So we're going to be adding that in. And then I'm able to better see too about her eyebrows, which in this drawing are a lot more smooth. Okay, all right. And we're going to do the same thing over on the other side. And we're just going to start coloring those in. Okay. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and look at these eyes again. So we're going to go ahead and go in here again and start shaping those up. Okay. Same thing here. And then now that we have these in place, we're going to go ahead and start with the eyebrows and head down. Okay. So as you can see there. So again, the main thing here is the shading. That's what we're doing now, is the shading. And this is going to help us again with our measurements to make sure that we have everything in place we're supposed to have in place. Okay. Now you'll notice here that I'm leaving these white spots. Of course, we won't keep them white, but what that's doing is it's helping me to see, as you can see here, where there are lighter points on her face. See that? They're not as pronounced on the black and white drawing, which is why I'm using the color photo just to be able to check. L, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side. So again, everyone, what you're seeing me doing now is starting to fill in some of the gaps. And I'm going to go ahead and now move on to another layer. And this is going to also help me, and that is with the hair. Now, I'm going to go to my pencil set here. I'm going to highlight it for you guys in the carousel. Okay, so I have it highlighted in the carousel now. Well, let me just make sure this is right. Yeah. Okay, so we have it in the carousel. What I'm going to be using here, I'm going to use an HB. I'm going to also get a B, and I'm going to get a 2B. Now, keep in mind that these are some of the lighter colors, okay? These are some of the lighter colors. Go ahead and use my pencil sharpener. And I do have my Amazon Basic batteries in the pencil sharpener. I replaced those today. See, get a nice sharp point. Same thing here. Okay. See, nice sharp point. Okay. Got one more we're going to use. So again, we're using the lighter colors. Okay. All right. So we got those then. So what we're going to be doing, I'm going to start off with the, let's start off with the, to be. I'm going to start with that one. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do, before we get into the hair, I'm seeing something right here we want to be able to fix. And that is a really strong line here. Okay, really strong line. We're going to lighten that up a little bit. Okay, there's that. And then we're going to go here. All right, so you can see it coming together. So let me put it closer to you so you can see how the shading is helping to bring out the picture. And what I'm about to do now is add the hair, because that's going to help me and notice how my shading should be more. Okay. So again, it's all a process. And the main thing is to don't try to rush the process. If you try to skip a step here, you're going to end up missing something. So I'm going to go to 2B. And I'm going to turn it upside down again, guys. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to turn it upside down so that the hair will be closest to me. Okay. Now, what I want to make sure that I do, I want to make sure that I'm following the hair pattern that she has. Now, again, as I mentioned, I am going to be changing something. But I want to make sure, again, that you're able to look at it and say, hey, that's her, without too much trouble. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. We're going to start again with the 2B. I'm going to start up here. Now, keep in mind, too, when it comes to drawing hair, you do not want to draw it like it's all one piece. Okay. You're going to make sure that you're drawing it in a way that people can tell, okay, this is hair, and that it can move. As you can see, so again, I'm going down here and going here. So as you can see, that's the hair coming in. Now, one of the side effects of us putting the hair in is that as the hair is put in, I will be able to notice other things about the face. And that's one thing that's going to help me, is to know again where different things may be and where there may be issues that I need to be able to fix. So again, we're following what is the shape. I'm just noticing another change I need to make. And see, that's the thing. You're going to always see something, and that's okay. That's normal. That'll make you say, wait a minute, I can do this differently. I'm seeing it right here, where I had too much hair on what was her right side that I'm able to fix. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing over on this side. Again, looking for things that are off that we may need to fix. Okay. So again, you see the same thing. You see how it's starting to come to life. Come to life. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing going around. Okay. All right. So there we have it. And we're just going to go all the way around. You can see here. Now, again, this is the great thing about this HB. Again, that's the pencil that I'm using here. I mean, the 2B pencil. The great thing about that is it gets dark, but it's still manageable. But I want you to look at what I had. See, I had her hair all the way out here. See that? But see, now that I'm filling it in, I see exactly how much hair I need for that. Hey, Lakeisha, good to be able to see you. Lakeisha Levette. Hello to you. By Jennifer Griffith. Hello to you. Good to be able to see you. For those who are just tuning in, you all are watching the Art Spot here on Amazon Live. But we are simulcasting it on social media right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on IG. We are drawing a picture of Tamron Hall. You can see there. This is an 8x10 of her. I'm actually drawing it as a 16 by 20 on canvas, so we can have some texture with it. So right now what we're doing, we're just going through discussing it, but also letting you guys see the process. Okay. And we're going to keep going around and darkening that until we get the fullness of her hair in. Now, we will be doing more with this, but the main thing is right now is to create that contrast of that black with the hair from the rest of her face, so that I can make sure again that my shading and everything is good. Okay, so we're going to keep going around here. Keep in mind the Art Spot is here every Monday here on Amazon Live. You can catch it at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. That's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Amazon Live. And then, of course, the replay will also be available. So keep that in mind, too. If you came in late, you missed some of it, don't worry. You can always catch the replay. See, we're eliminating some of that excess weight on the hair. See that? Limiting some of the excess weight on the hair. Okay. And so you can see it. See how it's starting to come in? Oh, let's move this back. See how it's starting to come in? And this is all part of the process, guys. This is part of the layering process. But I would not be able to do this if I hadn't taken the time to actually map it out so I can make sure that we get the right dimensions and everything for her. Okay. And again, you can see on this side over here, see how I took some of that off. Again, like I said, I tend to be that one who does a lot of drawing upside down. Again, just because it helps me to concentrate on these shapes and everything that I'm creating. But you will see me do it both ways. You'll see me do it this way, but also, of course, turning it around as well. Speaking of which, I'm going to turn it around now so we can see it together. And you can see, you can already start telling the difference. Can you see it? The difference in what we had earlier. And as we go throughout the process, you'll see it even more. So I'm going to, again, have my paper here, so I'm not doing any smudging. But we're going to keep filling this in here. Again, making sure that we're going with the flow and the way that the hair is growing. Okay. For you guys over there on Amazon, again, all of the products that you see me using, you can see in the carousel. For those of you who are not on Amazon, you can be able to find the link if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. If you're not on one of those platforms, though, you can be able to message me and I'll send it to you. Of any other products that we're using if you have a question about them. In my mind, the star of this show is this overhead camera, the camera mount. Because it really helps me to be able to showcase with you guys, let you guys see exactly what I'm doing. And not get in the way. Okay, so as you can see how it's all coming together there. So this is, again, the hair. And keep in mind now, this is not the final hair, of course, but this is just the hair to be able to have in so we can check the dimensions of everything else. Okay. Have about 5 more minutes in today's show. What we don't finish here, I will be coming back on to do. Melissa says yes. So Melissa, what do you think? I'm gonna put you on the spot. What do you think? How do you think it's coming together? Or is it too early for you to tell yet? It may be too early for you to tell. And again, keep in mind too, as I mentioned, a lot of this is going to change when we start filling in other things, but this is just giving me an idea, like here with the hair, giving me an idea of directions. Melissa says it's coming together. And Melissa, y'all, she gives me a hard time. So if Melissa says it's coming together, that means it's coming together. Appreciate that, Melissa. So again, so this guys, as you can tell, it's a process. You know, we spent an hour on this last week. We're at an hour again today. Something like this, and I did not want to cheat you guys, so I didn't work on it outside of last week. So when I came in today, I came in exactly from where I was last week for the episode. So that way I was not. Hey, Dr. Claire, good to be able to see you. Dr. Claire, glad you could join us for the art spot today. We're drawing today. When we finish, we're going to have a nice drawing of Miss Tamron Hall here. This is actually our week 2 of drawing Tamron Hall. I'm drawing her. Hey, Sherry, we have to get together. Sherry Woods, I see you over there on IG. Have to get together with you. Congratulations. I didn't get a chance to speak with you last year, but congratulations on a great year last year. Hope all is well with you. Again, for those who are just coming in, welcome. You guys are watching the Art Spot on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting this on social for you guys. Here every week we do live art demonstrations. We've done some paintings here. Now we're doing this drawing. As you can see here, it really is a process. But what I love is you can see, you guys are able to see it all coming together as we're doing it together. So that's the cool thing. Dr. Clara says, love it. Thank you, Dr. Clara. I appreciate you. But we're wrapping up today's show. Again, I'm glad you all could join us for the Art Spot today. I will be back with you guys. If I get a chance this week to do a special edition of the Art Spot, I'll be back this week and we'll be working on it again together. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it, Dennis. Glad you could watch. Dennis, I don't know if you've ever seen me do my art before, seen it actually in real time. So it's exciting to be able to have you guys watching it. It definitely is relaxing. It's a relaxing process for me. But it's also a lot of fun. I enjoy it. So again, we're wrapping up today's episode. If you guys are on the Amazon side, Please make sure you guys do hit that follow button. That way you can stay connected with all of our programming here on Amazon. Again, for those who may have came in late, the reason why you're hearing that noise as I'm drawing is because I'm drawing on a canvas. So instead of just drawing on regular paper, see, I'm drawing on a textured canvas. So that way we can get more detail in as we are doing it. So, oh yeah, you can see it really well there. We're getting more detail in as we're drawing. And it's going to really help with the help when we start doing the skin and getting all of that done. So I think that's a good place for us to, we have our beginnings of our hair here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, but I'm so glad you guys could join us for today's broadcast. Hope you guys will join us again for the Art Spot and all of our other programming here on Amazon. Fine Ammo, good to be to see you as well. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.